Internal Affairs regarding abduction and disappearance of Mr. Mohammed Omar Dara Kolati and Abdul Qadir Sharif Chuma at Witu. Honorable Speaker, on 30th October 2023, Mr. Mohammed Dara Kolati of ID number 33708571 with Abdul Qadir Sharif Chuma was abducted by alleged police officers while working in a petrol station in Witu. The abduction has raised concern regarding the fundamental rights of individuals pursuant to Article 29 of the Constitution, as efforts to trace his whereabouts have not borne any fruits. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I seek statement from the Chairperson of Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security on the following. Number one, could the Chairperson provide information to the House on the whereabouts of Mr. Mohammed Omar Dara Kolati and Abdul Qadir Sharif? Number two, what measures have been taken to ensure the said person is reunited with his family? Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Okay. Chairperson, Security, Honorable Tongoyo, you have something to say about the statement by Ali Wario, member for Garsan constituency, over the disappearance.
Yeah. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Of Mohammed Omar Dara Kolati.
Yeah, we will transmit the same to the ministry and the CS for that matter, and in 2 weeks' time, we will give a response.
How long? Time period?
2 weeks, 2 weeks, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Wario, is 2 weeks okay?
Madam Speaker, 2 weeks is too long because the parents are sick, they have blood pressure. Even right now, as I'm speaking, his father is unable even to walk out of the house. So, Madam Speaker, I request 2 weeks is too long. This is the government, maybe 3 days, Madam Speaker.
I think 3 days is a bit too, maybe a week, try within a week, and don't go beyond 2 weeks.
So guided.
Thank you. Next order.
Order number 8, motion. Debate on the President's address. Therefore, mover to reply.
Leader, you may proceed.
Honorable Speaker, thank you very much. I would like to reply to the debate on the presidential address, which was delivered in this House by His Excellency the President on the 9th of November. Honorable Speaker, it's very important to note that this State of the Nation address is anchored in law, and it is a constitutional mandate of the President, and Article 132(1)(c) and Article 247 of the Constitution, that the President comes to this chamber and addresses the two houses on the state of the nation. Honorable Speaker, in the address, the Constitution requires the President to present an annual report on the measures taken and the progress achieved in the realization of national values and principles of governance. He's also supposed to present an annual report on the progress made in the fulfillment and the international obligations of the Republic of Kenya, and also to present an annual report to Parliament on the state of the national security. Honorable Speaker, His Excellency the President actually did that and presented the 10th report to this House, and we thank him. And in the debate, Honorable Speaker, which was delivered in 1.5 hours, the speech could not carry everything in those 1.5 hours, but I think the President did justice to the moment and actually delivered an address that gave confidence to the nation that it is on the steady path. Honorable Speaker, I know as I listened to the many members, honorable members contributing to this debate, there were the many issues of why didn't the president address this? Why didn't the speech include this? Why didn't the president talk about this? Definitely there are many things that the speech did not include, but I think the speech in itself is couched in such a way that there are certain things that the president has to state and to bring to the nation of the attention of the assembly, because the Constitution says so. Honorable Speaker, in this State of the Nation address, as I listen to the members contribute, I think the thanks of the House were noted on several issues. One, that the nation is on the steady path of growth. Although there are many challenges that we are facing as a country, many economic issues that we are facing as a country, but again, members noted that progress is being made steadily and that we are moving to where we should be as a nation. Honorable Speaker, we note the progress the government has made, especially in the areas of agriculture, the areas of education, the areas of health, and the key sectors that need to be dealt with, and therefore the House noted all these things. Honorable Speaker, in the speech, and the members noted, and I also note that they are hopeful that the investments that we are making right now as a government that is delivered by the president are transformative issues that are going to lead, that both at the micro and the macro level, the fiscal and the monetary, and issues of social justice as progress towards better, the bottom-up program that the president and this government has put in. Honorable Speaker, we also noted the thanks, the thanks of the House in the issues that the president raised, and many members here took note of the issues and progress that we've made in education, and particularly the issues of JCC, the issues of university funding, the issues of the curriculum-based issues. We have made tremendous progress. Members also noted that the president talked about the universal health and that we have made tremendous progress in those issues, and also the issues of housing, which the president talked about, and that we have made tremendous progress that is towards transforming this country. Honorable Speaker, important to note that for the first time, the president delivered this, his speech in a digital way. I know one of the members said he wasn't so sure whether the president was reading from somewhere or he was talking from off the cuff, but I want to tell him that the president used a teleprompter to deliver his speech, and he wasn't speaking off the cuff, and that not the president's investments actually in the issues of digital. Honorable Speaker, I also want to thank all the members that participated in this debate. I think it was robust. Members spoke their mind. Members interpreted the speech the way they wanted to, but above all, this is a build-up towards a proper democratization of this country, and that people in this house, members in this house, can actually question, can actually debate a presidential speech without looking behind their shoulders. Honorable Speaker, I want to thank every member who contributed, and I wanted to say thank you, and I beg to reply. Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members, may I put the question? No, there is no question to put, eh?
Yes, we have noted.
Okay. All right. Honorable Martha is confusing me. Honorable members, I now put the question that pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 24.6, the thanks of this House be recorded for the exposition of the public policy contained in the address of His Excellency the President delivered in Parliament on Thursday, 9th November 2023, and further that this House notes the following report submitted by His Excellency the President in fulfillment of the provisions of Article 132(1)(c) and Article 247 of the Constitution, laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 14th November 2023. 1. The 10th Annual Report on the measures taken and progress achieved in the realization of national values, principles, and principles of governance. 2. The 10th Annual Report on the progress made in fulfilling the international obligations of the Republic of Kenya. And 3. The Annual Report to Parliament on the state of national security. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 9, motion. Report on the multinational security support mission to the public. Report of the multinational security support mission to the Republic of Haiti.
What is your point of honorable leader of minority?
Sorry. Madam Speaker, I am rising on a point of order number 89. And I would want, for avoidance of doubt, just to take you there, if you don't mind, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, standing order 89 speaks to the issue of sub judice. And it is clear, Madam Speaker, that no member shall refer to any particular matter which is sub judice, or which, by the operation of any written law, is secret. Madam Speaker, a matter shall be considered to be sub judice when it refers to active criminal or civil proceedings, and the discussion of such matter is likely to prejudice its fair termination. Madam Speaker, I am aware, and indeed the whole country is aware, that the matter we are just about to embark on, the matter of the deployment of the Kenya police to Haiti, is actively before court. Is actively before court. And the matter in court is case number E389/2023. This is the matter between Third Way Alliance Kenya and Miruri Waweru and one other versus Cabinet Secretary Interior and Coordination of National Government and the Speaker of the National Assembly and 4 others. Madam Speaker, unless we are deviating from our norms, from the traditions, from the practice, and indeed from our own rules as provided for under the standing orders, I submit that the House is not in its proper position, is not in its proper place to adjudicate or in any way, in any other way, deal with the matter before it under Order 9 on the order paper today, Madam Speaker. For the simple reason that the matter of the deployment of the Kenya police to the Republic of Haiti is very, very actively before our own courts of law. Madam Speaker, I want to go further and report to you that indeed interim orders were issued on the same matter by none other than Justice E.C. Mwita. Justice E.C. Mwita on the 6th of October 2023, which orders have the effect of stopping the Republic of Kenya from attempting to take the Kenya police officers to the Republic of Haiti. Madam Speaker, I am aware, I am further informed, and I've got no reason not to believe the information I've been given, that this order has since been extended indefinitely until the matter is heard and determined. Madam Speaker, the matter is scheduled for hearing and termination, Madam Speaker, in the next 3-4 days. and is going to be heard in open court by physical appearance. So what am I saying in short? What am I saying in short? What I'm saying in short is that if we are a house that goes by the rule of law, if we are a house that abides by its own traditions, its own practices, its own rules, and indeed by the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya, we cannot proceed with the debate on this motion until this matter in court is heard and determined one way or the other, or until the orders, the interim orders, the interlocutory orders that were issued by Justice Mwita are either vacated or otherwise stood down, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, on that basis, therefore, I want to plead with you. I want to plead with you to exercise your jurisdiction, and wisdom to stand down the debate on this motion. I want to plead with you to stand down this motion. And as I conclude, Madam Speaker, let me ask you to allow me to table the court order that was issued by Justice Mwita on this matter on the 6th of October 2023. Madam Speaker, the good thing these days, court orders are online, they're available online. You don't even need to bother going to look for certified copies. They are online, and they are clearly authenticated, Madam Speaker. With those very few remarks, I support. Unfortunately, I only have one copy. If I have to table first before I give my friend here.
Honorable Osoro.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, listening to Honorable Minority Leader, and I've taken note to the standing orders that is raised, and in particular, he raised the standing order number 89 on the element of sub judice. But Honorable Speaker, if consultations can be lower, Honorable Speaker, if people can consult in low tones kindly.
Honorable members, this is an extremely important matter. If you want to consult, you may have to do it outside the chamber or consult in very low tones, kindly. Let's be mindful of proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the Constitution of Kenya is the supreme law of the land. It mandates and gives every arm of government their responsibility and a bit of some autonomy in their way of operation. Honorable Speaker, Article 240, number one, first Article 95 and 6 mandates Parliament to oversight, to legislate, or the executive, and all the other responsibilities that they are supposed to do and to represent the people. But Article 240, Honorable Speaker, gives us a sole responsibility upon the proposal by the National Security Council to agree to their proposal or decline. And that is the responsibility of the of the Parliament of Kenya. And in particular, Article 248, that the Council, with the approval of Parliament, may deploy national forces outside Kenya, regional or international peace support, or other support operations. It is the Parliament of Kenya that debates and agrees upon being moved by the National Security Council. But if I restrict myself to standing order number 89 that Honorable Minority Leader said, it is important for us to know that that very particular standing order has got clause 4, which provides that a member alleging that a matter is sub judice shall provide evidence to show that paragraphs 2 and 3 are applicable. That paragraph 2 and 3 are applicable. Determining whether, what does 2 say? Determining whether a criminal or civil proceeding is active and shall apply, whether it's a criminal proceeding shall be deemed to be active, A criminal proceeding, civil proceeding shall be deemed to be active when arrangement for hearing, such as setting down a case for trial, have been made until the proceedings are ending by judgment or their discontinuance. Or whether appellant proceedings, whether criminal or civil, shall be deemed to be active from the time when they are commenced by application. Honorable Speaker, we are not party to the criminal proceeding or civil proceeding that is in court. We are not litigants. We are not respondents as an independent house. Today, this morning, Honorable Minority Leader has provided a paper that has not been authenticated in this house. A standing order, Honorable Speaker, of this house was released yesterday. The Honorable Minority Leader had the entire time to present his evidence, bring it forth, have it authenticated, confirm whether it is indeed true the matter is in court, move this house yesterday before it was published in the standing order, Honorable Speaker. As far as I'm concerned, there is no evidence that has been provided by Honorable Minority Leader today, this morning, because we really can't authenticate. We are not very sure whether it is a paper from River Road, whether it's a paper that is printed. It is just a word by himself. It is his own words against ours. So, Honorable Speaker, we go back to the Constitution, which is the supreme law of the land. We are mandated to debate a matter that has been moved to us by the National Security Council, as provided for under Article 240, Honorable Speaker. So, Honorable Minority Leader, you are out of order. We debate, we agree, or we drop it. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Majority Leader. I'll come to you, Honorable Otiende, member for Ariada.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, it is indeed true what the Honorable Opio and I says, that there is a case in court, because it is a public domain. And everybody who follows what is going on in the courts would know there is a case in court. And I'm glad the purported paper that he has tabled, as my whip says, the last directive is that a conservatory order is hereby issued restraining the respondents from deploying police officers to Haiti or any other country until 24th October 2023. And I believe today is the 16th, if I'm not wrong, of November. He purports those orders to have been extended. I would first have wanted to see that particular extension, which has not been tabled. Therefore, this particular piece of paper seems to have lapsed. Number two, Honorable Speaker, for all I know, the matter in court did not in any way restrain or give orders against the National Assembly carrying out our constitutional mandate to debate and approve, because the National Assembly or Parliament, in line with the Constitution, does not deploy officers. What we do is to consider such a motion for approval for the deployment of those officers. It is other agencies who then are restrained from deploying, not the National Assembly. Honorable Speaker, my third point is that the Honorable Opio has been here long enough, as long as I've been here. And he knows from the 11th Parliament, under Speaker Muturi, there is a retinue of precedents on what the courts can and cannot injunct Parliament from doing. And part of that, Honorable Speaker, is that the court cannot injunct Parliament from doing what is constitutionally the Parliament's mandate. And the courts, Honorable Speaker, and my good brother Opio knows it, because he has been here. And I know this is very good politics for those in the minority. But it is politics in the wrong theater. I would advise them to play it in the courts or in rallies, but not here, Honorable Speaker. Because we cannot be stopped from doing what we ought to do. And the precedence that was set by Speaker Muturi is that the courts must wait for Parliament to do its work, then proceed after that. And Honorable Speaker, if you also look at our Standing Order 89.5, He says that notwithstanding this standing order on matters sub judice, as Honorable Pio says, because that is the article he referred to in speaking about matters sub judice. And 89.5 says that notwithstanding this standing order that speaks about sub judice matters, the Speaker may allow reference to any matter before the House or a committee. Therefore, our own standing orders do not stop us from discussing matters. Honorable Speaker, you may allow people to even make reference without going into the facts that are being prosecuted before the courts, Honorable Speaker. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, I humbly submit before you, Honorable Speaker, that this matter and this motion is, one, rightly before the House. Two, there is absolutely nothing sub judice in the House debating and approving, if the House agrees with the motion, approving the deployment of our officers to Haiti. Honorable Speaker, a lot of work has gone into this this committee's work, and the Honorable Tongo from the report yesterday, members will be able to see, including extensive public participation. Part of the matters that were being argued are issues to do with whether or not there has been public participation. That is not a matter for us to determine here. Let us leave it to the courts. They will fight with those they are fighting with the courts. For us, let us carry out our constitutional mandate to consider what is before the House today without any reference to the particular facts of the case that is in court, Honorable Speaker. But lastly, I want to agree with the Honorable Osoro that it behoves on the leader of minority not to table a piece of paper of a defunct court order, but he should also have tabled what he purports to have been an extension, because that is it is him who is purporting there was an extension. Nobody is aware, and the burden of proof was on him, not on anybody else. And he cannot refer to online. He's telling it is online, anybody can Google. There are a lot of hackers online and fake news. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Otiende, member for Rarieda.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to clearly support the point of order by the minority leader. And I really want us to address this as a house, not as a partisan house, because these matters have consequences in terms of precedence. First of all, Madam Speaker, Standing Order 89 is clear as read by Honorable Wandai, and 89.2 restricts discussion of active civil matters. It goes further in C to say that civil proceedings shall be deemed to be active when arrangements for hearings such as setting down a case for trial have been made until the proceedings are ended by judgment or discontinuance. Until they are ended by judgment or discontinuance. It is clear, Madam Speaker, that the case quoted, E389 of 23, is active, has been set down, it has not been ended by discontinuance or judgment. So it falls exactly on all fours under Standing Order 89. Madam Speaker, all the sections of all the articles of the Constitution quoted are true. But despite those provisions, in our wisdom as a House, we established the standing orders and included Standing Order 89. If it were to be possible that there are certain matters that we are willing to discuss despite them being sub judice, nothing would have been easier than to state it on the face of the standing orders. Madam Speaker, it is not true that the orders read only stop deployment of the police. To the extent that any court order stops deployment, it stops all the processes that lead to that. And one of those processes is bringing that motion in the National Assembly and the National Assembly either passing or rejecting it. It means automatically that all these processes must be held in abeyance. Is it true, as Honorable Soro says, that we are not party to the proceedings? Yes, we may or we may not be. But whenever we learn of any matter that concerns us, and we want to nip it in the bud or fast track it, we usually join the proceedings. So not being part of the proceedings is neither here nor there. Court orders such as this bind everyone, whether you are part of the proceedings or not. And Honorable Soro knows that because he's a lawyer. Madam Speaker, the principle that sometimes it can be convenient to follow court orders and sometimes it can be inconvenient to follow court orders is one that makes us a laughing stock. Madam Speaker, only recently, the leader of minority sought to replace the deputy chief whip of the Azimio party. Someone else other than the concerned member went to court, and like in this case, we were not party. But when the court stops the process, the speaker held that in abeyance for months until finally that matter was disposed of. How is that matter different from this? How do students, how do Kenyans looking at us try to understand Parliament when we apply differential standards? We become a laughingstock. I think, Madam Speaker, it is unfortunate that sometimes we can conveniently think that we can ignore court orders and sometimes we cannot. In fact, in E389, which has been tabled before you, Madam Speaker, the Speaker of the National Assembly is a party. Whether the Speaker has chosen to appear or not is a different matter. And it does not make the orders not see. Lastly, Madam Speaker, the leader of majority says that we can only see what has been brought before us. You know, leader of majority, one day, when you become a lawyer, as I'm sure you will, or you will learn that only justice is blind. Justice is said to be blind, but any determinative authority must also take notice of what's happening aside. In the judiciary, we say judicial notice. Even in this Parliament, if today we are sitting here and we learn, even on your SMS, that something has happened, which is a national crisis, we will take parliamentary notice of it. You cannot say that you cannot take parliamentary notice of what's in public notoriety, and we know it. Madam Speaker, I think that to avoid this selective amnesia by my brothers and to maintain the dignity of this House, this debate should be held in abeyance, and if the Parliament wants to be a party, it should apply to be a party. Once it's determined, then we can come back to debate it. I so submit, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
What's your point of order? Because we need to bring this to a close, I'll pronounce myself on it.
Honorable Speaker, you know, Senior Counsel Otiende Omolo referred to me and said that when I become a liar, and I have no intention ever of becoming a liar. I have no such intentions of ever becoming a liar. I don't know if he said a lawyer or a liar, because, you know, from where Honorable Otiende comes from, you can never distinguish when someone is talking about lawyers and liars. And there's a famous movie, Honorable Speaker, called Liar Liar, that was about lawyers. So I have no intention, Honorable Speaker, for the record, to become a liar, nor do I intend to become a lawyer. But, Honorable Speaker, I think I have taken judicial and parliamentary notice of the court orders, Honorable Speaker. But the point I had made was that, one, there is no injunctive order against Parliament. The injunctive order is on those who are charged with the responsibility of deployment. And the court order dated 24th October or 23rd October is quite clear that those who deploy are the ones who are debarred from deployment. Parliament, Honorable Speaker, does not and has no capacity to deploy anybody other than deploying the Honorable Otiende Omolo on a trip to Rarieda, or deploy him on a trip to Mombasa or a trip to Turkey for other things, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members, having listened to the various members, I think the two matters that are in contention is the interpretation of Standing Order 89, which talks about that no matter shall be discussed if a matter is sub judice. When a matter is sub judice, it doesn't mean just that by the mere fact that the matter has been filed, makes it sub judice. Sub judice is when you discuss the merits and demerits of the case before the court. That is not what is happening here in the House. The House is just charged with the responsibility as set out in Article 247 and 8 of our Constitution, which says that the Council may, with the approval of Parliament, deploy national forces outside Kenya for regional or international peace support operations or for other support operations, and approve the deployment of foreign forces in Kenya. So, Parliament, the National Assembly here is not being asked to approve, to deploy the forces. They are just being asked to approve. In any case, the matter raised by the leader of minority is premature because Parliament has not yet approved the deployment. The matter has just been tabled or is going to be tabled before Parliament for approval. Even then, never mind the fact that that court order has not been served upon the Speaker, and in order to authenticate service, usually the order has to be directed to the Speaker and the National Assembly, and it must be, and the service of that must be done. It must be authenticated, signed, and the name of the process server indicated. It cannot be a member of this House acting as a process server while the House is in plenary. And if the court order quoted by the leader of minority is to be believed, it says, as he read, that whatever authority has been restrained from deploying the police to Haiti. The National Assembly has no such power of deploying any foreign sources. All it has to do is to approve the request for deployment by the Security Council. And therefore, I will therefore, with all that said, I will exercise the powers of the Speaker under Article or Standing Order 89(5), which says, notwithstanding this standing order, the Speaker may allow the reference to any matter before the House or a committee. So we shall proceed. Honorable Member for Narok West, Honorable Tongoya.
Thank you.
You're making a point of order against my ruling. That is not in order. So let's wait for the matter to proceed, because now it's closed. Then you can raise it at debate. Honorable Sunguli, you have an opportunity at debate. There is nothing before the House as we speak. Proceed.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, for that Solomonic ruling. Madam Speaker, where is that? On the multinational, taking into consideration.
Proceed to move.
Where is it? Where is it?
The way it is, eh?
Yeah, ndio natafuta. Sorry, number 9. Madam Speaker, I beg to move the motion on the report on the multinational security support mission to the Republic of Haiti, that taking into consideration the recommendation of the Joint Committee of the National Assembly Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security and the Senate Standing Committee on National Security, Defense, and Foreign Relations in its report on the request regarding the deployment of the officers of the National Police Service to the multinational security support mission to Haiti, laid on the table of the House on Wednesday 15th November 2023, and pursuant to the provision of Article 248A, this House approves the deployment of officers of the National Police Service to the multinational security support mission to Haiti.
You have a seconder?
I ask Dido Raso to second.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to second, and I want to associate myself
Thank you. Honorable members, I now propose the question. Let me propose the question, then I'll give you a chance. Honorable members, I now propose the question that taking into consideration the recommendations of the Joint Committee of the National Assembly, Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security, and the Senate Standing Committee on National Security, Defense and Foreign Relations, in its report on the request regarding the deployment of officers of the National Police Service to the Multinational Security Support Mission to Haiti, laid on the table of the House on Wednesday, 15th November 2023, and pursuant to the provisions of Article 248A, this House approves the deployment of the officers of the National Police Service to the Multinational Security Support Mission to Haiti. Yes, your point of order, Honorable Vandai. You want to contribute? Okay. Honorable Otiende, you have a point of order? Okay.
Madam Speaker.
And Sukulu, you can now give your point of order.
Madam Speaker.
If you have any. But let's wait to Honorable.
Yes. Madam Speaker, thank you for your ruling. As we are guided by the House, we must accept whether we agree or not. But given your ruling, Madam Speaker, you have clearly guided that under Standing Order 89, what is to be avoided is discussing the merits or demerits of the matter in court. And I'm accordingly guided. Madam Speaker, looking at the report that has just been tabled as a motion, it contains matters that discuss merit and demerits. Could Madam Speaker guide us which part of the report, therefore, we can refer to as we are debating this particular motion? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Omolo Otiende, you're a senior counsel, as senior as myself. You know very well that should we delve into the issue of the merits and demerits, then it is the court that shall reprimand us, not you. So you're not the sitting judge in this matter. Yeah, neither are you a counsel in the case. Thank you. Honorable Sunkuli, your point of order now is
Speaker,
mature
today
enough.
you are not very kind to me, but I accept. Now, I'm asking, unfortunately, my point of order is more or less the same as Honorable Otiende's, but to put it in my different language, I personally respect your ruling, but could you give further guidance, Madam Speaker, on the merits of the case? The question of the merits of the case, because if the rule is against the merits, I think it would be good for members not to delve into the merits of the matter. So could you give us guidance on what the merits of the case are?
Okay, Honorable Sunkuli, you missed an important part of my ruling. I said that this House has not been served with a court order, and therefore we cannot know what the order directed. When that comes, there shall be sufficient time to do that. But for now, we are proceeding as usual with the matter. So, Honorable Ruku, what's your point of order?
Madam Speaker, I listened carefully to the chairman of the Joint Committee on National Assembly, and I didn't hear him moving the motion. I don't know whether this motion is proper on the floor of the House or not. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Yeah, he moved the motion because he moved the motion as indicated in the order paper. Unless you wanted him to go further and make an explanation, which is optional. Yes, Leader of Minority.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much. And I wish to now contribute to this motion following your ruling and guidance. Madam Speaker, I want to start on the premise that the National Police Service does not fall within the ambit of what is provided for under Article 240, sub-Article 8 of the Constitution. And I'll explain why. Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, Article 240.
Honorable Tongoya and Leader of Majority, I'm
addressing very weighty issues that will require that people listen. Honorable members, if you may listen to me.
Okay, Honorable Leader of Minority, start again because I didn't hear you.
Yes. I was saying that Article 248, Article 240 is Article 8, that we seem to be hiding behind in purporting to process this deployment of the police service to Haiti simply talks about deployment of national forces outside Kenya. Outside Kenya. National forces. Madam Speaker, if you go to Article 241, Article 241 of the Constitution, you will find that there are established the Kenya Defense Forces. Article 241 of the Constitution provides for the establishment of the Kenya Defense Forces. And it goes further to list those forces as consisting of the Kenya Army, the Kenya Air Force, the Kenya Navy, and basically those three. It simply talks of the three arms of the Kenya Defense Forces as what constitute the defense forces. Nothing could have been easier if the drafters of this constitution had intended to include the National Police Service as part of the forces. To say so explicitly under Article 240, sub-Article 8 of the Constitution. Madam Speaker, we cannot afford to do what we are trying to do currently, of circumventing the Constitution and the law. In fact, the National Police Service, as established under Article 243 and 245 of the Constitution, is under the command of the Inspector General of Police. It is not under the command of the President or any other person. The Commander-in-Chief of the Kenya Defense Forces is not the commander of the National Police Service. That is my submission. And you can challenge me. So it was not the intention of the makers of our Constitution. And Honorable Tindamolo is here. He will help us. Because he was a member of the committee of experts that drafted our Constitution. It was not the intention of the draft of the Constitution, nor was it the intention of Kenyans when they promulgated this Constitution.
So you seem to have a point of order?
Yes.
Okay, you'll come after leader.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. You know, the leader of minority has asked us to challenge him. And Honorable Speaker, it's also good to state matters of fact in line with our standing orders. Honorable Speaker, the leader of minority is clearly misreading and misinterpreting the Constitution, because if you read Article 248 of the Constitution that provides that the National Security Council, with the approval of Parliament, which is the basis of this motion, Honorable Speaker, may deploy the national forces of Kenya for regional and international peace support operations or other support operations. Honorable Speaker, if you read Article 242, the Constitution of the Security Council, the Council consists of, amongst others, and I'll go straight to I, the Inspector General of the National Police Service. And therefore, you cannot argue that the National Security Council or that is involved with the deployment of forces and request with the approval of Parliament does not constitute the National Police Service. Because it is right there in the Constitution, Honorable Speaker, 240(2)(h), I, Honorable Speaker, including the National Intelligence Service, for that matter. So even if you are to deploy National Intelligence Service officers, that is part of the National Security Council.
Speaker, how I wish my colleague did not interrupt me. Because he has clearly not added any value to the debate.
He has assisted you.
Because if you look at the composition of the National Security Council, it also has civilians in it, including the Cabinet Secretary for Foreign Affairs. So are you saying Foreign Affairs staff are members of the Defense Forces? Are you saying we can deploy Foreign Affairs staffers, Ministry of Foreign Affairs staffers to Haiti to maintain security? It doesn't add. It doesn't follow. It doesn't matter who is a member of the National Security Council. What is important is what constitutes. What constitutes
a point of order. I'll still give you time. Don't worry. You have sufficient time, and we shall add you a minute or so for the interruption. Honorable Russo.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I stand under Standing Order number 91. I think from the floor of this House, the leader of minority should not mislead the nation and this House. For him to stand there and purport that the President is not the commander of the National Police Service, then the word commander-in-chief simply means that all those who are armed, whether the Kenya Defense Forces, the National Police Service, the Prison Service, actually come under the President of the Republic of Kenya. That is what he has been given, or she, by the Constitution. Honorable Speaker, it is okay for the leader of minority to make a statement, but let him not be allowed to mislead the House and the nation. Thank you.
Proceed. Now you have been properly guided.
Anyway, you know, in this world, wonders will never cease. You know, the Constitution is so clear. I don't want to belabor the point, really, because I think even my colleagues on the other side are clearly agreeing with me, even though they may not say so loudly. The Constitution is so clear. But that aside, having addressed myself to the unconstitutionality of this move, I want now go to the merit. Even assuming that Kenya, that this House could actually approve the National Police Service to go to Haiti. If you go to the National Police Service Act, the National Police Service Act, Section 108, Section 108 of the National Police Service Act, where in certain special circumstances, let me just go to the specific section. Section 108(1). Yes. 108(1) of the National Police Service Act. And it provides as follows. Madam Speaker, the President may, on the application of the government of a reciprocating country, the government of a reciprocating country, okay, order such number of police officers as the President may think fit to proceed to that country for service therein for the purpose of assisting the police service of that country in a temporary emergency. Madam Speaker, what is the definition of a reciprocating country? Before you even go to the definition of a reciprocating country, the country in question must be having a functioning government. My submission is that the Republic of Haiti, as we speak currently, has got no functioning government. And therefore, the question of reciprocating or otherwise can't arise. But even more importantly, this requisition, this request for the deployment of Kenya Police Service officers to Haiti, who is the originator? Where did it come from? Did it come from Haiti? And if it came from Haiti, from who in Haiti? Which government in Haiti? Which government, as we speak, is in charge of the Republic of Haiti? Because as a country, as a parliament that represents the people of Kenya, we have to ask these questions. We have to ask these questions because the public will ask us even tougher questions if something goes wrong in Haiti. So we must ask these questions. Which government in Haiti made the requisition for Kenya police officers to go to Haiti? If it is not the government of Haiti, therefore, who then asked for our police officers to go to Haiti? Is it the UN? I'm hearing it's the UN from somebody shouting across the island.
What's your point of order, Honorable Kainan?
What's the point?
Your debate must be very exciting. You have many points of orders. You should appreciate it.
Thank you, Madam.
Proceed, Honorable Kainan.
Madam Speaker, is it in order for the Honorable Wandai to mislead Kenyans when page 10 of the report, and I read, clearly says, the Prime Minister of Haiti, with the concurrence of the Council of Ministers, addressed a letter to the UN Security Council on 9th October 2022, and on 10th October, the UN Security Council. And you just need to understand the making of the UN Security Council. Kenya is a responsible member. So the request came, and it's good he understands this. The request came from the Prime Minister of Haiti to the UN Security Council. The UN Security Council, in turn, requested the member states to contribute. So you need to understand, it's in order for the Honorable Wandai to mislead himself, to mislead members of parliament in Kenya that nobody requested for this. Yet he knows Kenya is a responsible member of the UN.
The more you listen to these colleagues of mine, the more you get actually amused. Madam Speaker, if it is the case that the request for the Kenyan government to deploy its police officers to Haiti came from the UN, can we have a look at the UN Security Council resolution that authorized this deployment? Does it make mention of Kenya, even for a moment? Does the UN Security Resolution authorizing this deployment make mention of Kenya? It does not. That is my submission. And therefore, we are basically getting into some kind of misadventure for reasons which are not known to the rest of us. The reasons could be known to a few people who are in the executive. But we want to tell you that you cannot use our Kenyan.
No, please kindly give him another 5 minutes because he was interrupted severally.
You cannot use our police women and men as guinea pigs at the altar of rent seeking. Because we know for sure that the motivation for this misadventure is money. Is money. People want to use our hapless police officers as guinea pigs in their bid to get cheap money. If you are sure that our Kenyan police officers are going to be safe in Haiti, first of all, start by taking there your child or brother, or go there yourself. Go there yourself. And then they tell us, Madam Speaker, that you see, the reason why Kenyan is leading this mission is because Kenyan people have got the same skin complexion as the Haitians. Are Kenyans the only black people in this part of the world? Are we short of black people in that part of the world? If you go to the Caribbeans, the whole of South America, Indeed, even some parts of North America, don't we have black people? Are we the only black people in this world, us and Haitians? Yes. What kind of nonsense is this? Very parliamentary. Because you cannot lead us to indulge in an illegality at the altar of rent seeking. And therefore, with those very many remarks, and to allow my colleagues to equally contribute, I reject in toto. This ill-advised motion. This very ill-advised motion, I reject it in toto. And I want to appeal to my colleagues from both sides of the political divide to equally reject this motion, if only to save our country and the future of our children and our grandchildren. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I oppose.
You have a point of order? Oh, yes, proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I rise to support this motion for the deployment of our National Police Service officers to Haiti to restore order. Honorable Speaker, allow me first to begin by...
Honorable Nyikal, what is your point of order?
Madam Speaker, my point of order is we have the body of we have the report, but this report we do not have annexures. So we can't make references even to what people are saying, and the report as a whole has not been available. Is it possible to get those annexures so that we have a full report? And actually, the full report, this is an important debate, so we should have the full report as we discuss. Is it possible?
Thank you. I direct that the clerk's desk ensures that you immediately get some copies to come within the House. You'll receive them in a few minutes. Honorable Nyikal, proceed, Leader of Majority.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I had hoped you direct the Honorable Nyikal to the table room, up here, room 8, because there are adequate copies with annexures, and I have a report that was tabled with annexures. So if his PA photocopied without the annexures, you can ask them to download online. Honorable Speaker, I had said that I was rising to support this motion. Honorable Speaker, allow me to first disabuse a lot of misinformation that has been given by our colleague and my good friend, the Honorable Opio Wandai. And I heard him, Honorable Speaker, say that the UN Security Council resolution 2699 of 2023, that it does not even mention Kenya anywhere. And I'll draw him to page 23, actually the third page of the UN Security Council, and he will notice that taking note of the call made by the government of Kenya on September 21st, 2023, urging the United Nations to urgently deliver an appropriate framework to facilitate the deployment of a multinational security support as part of a holistic response to Haiti's challenges, calling in the Security Council. Therefore, and the whole document is replete with a mention of Kenya, even the Kenyan delegation that visited Haiti to assess the situation in Haiti and report back to the Security Council, Honorable Speaker. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, let me first disabuse that notion that the UN Security Council did not take cognizance of the role being taken by Kenya. Two, Honorable Speaker, is to note, and I think the Leader of Minority had not read the committee's report that was tabled yesterday, because yesterday I was with the Leader of Minority in somewhere in Stony Harvey, deliberating on other matters of national importance, like the cost of living, Honorable Speaker. And therefore, he may have missed the tabling of the report, and because the report here, I will again share this report with the Leader of Minority, because Kenya is deploying our officers as part of this MSS team, the Multinational Security Support Mission. And Honorable Speaker, other countries, if you just go to the report, and I just want to be very brief and draw reference to the report, that the Kenya is to lead the nation, is a lead nation for the MSS mission to Haiti, which includes, because the Leader of Minority was asking emotionally, are we the only Africans? Are we only black people? Us and Haiti. And this report that is before, I'm sure it is there in his office even, because his PA is a very diligent officer, says this mission includes Senegal. Senegalese are Africans. They are black people, like you and me. Burundi. Burundians are Bantus, like myself and you, although you are half Nilot, half Bantu. Burundians are as black and as Bantu as I am.
Allow Honorable Wandai to prosecute his point of order.
Madam Speaker, I just want to ask you if it is in order for the Honorable Majority Leader to turn this debate into a debate on the person of the Leader of Minority. And more importantly, to attempt to classify me as a Bantu come Nilot. How does that come in, Madam Speaker, in this debate? Huh? Madam Speaker, please protect me from the Leader of Majority. Protect me.
Leader of Majority, I'll let you respond.
Honorable Speaker, you know the Honorable Pio and I, besides being my colleague on the other side, is also my friend. And he knows I know Ugunja, I know the county of Siaya, and I know the intermarriages between the great people of the Luopin nation and those of the house of Mulembe, who are Bantus. And there are facts that are undeniable, and the member for Ugunja knows. Honorable Speaker, protect the Honorable Minority Leader from those who are now claiming that he's their cousin. But I was saying, Honorable Speaker, Burundians are as black as the Honorable Pio and myself are, and the Africans and black people. Honorable Speaker, Chad is another African country that is in this mission. Other partners in the Caribbean and the Americas who are also of African descent and black people. Therefore, I just wanted, Honorable Speaker, to begin by disabusing that notion that it is a Kenyan mission. It is a multinational security support mission which Kenya is honored to lead. And as patriotic leaders, as Kenyan patriots, we cannot stand in our own National Assembly and say that we are using our officers, who are very patriotic young men and women, who have given their lives to protect life and property of Kenyans and people of the world where they may be deployed. And like the doctors affirm what do you call it, Dr. Nyika, the Hippocratic Oath or something close to that. Our police officers and armed security men take an oath to defend life and to serve their nation anywhere they may be deployed, including being deployed in the residence of our leaders like Opio and I. That officer guarding your house today and guarding your family is a patriotic young man or young lady who has given his life to protect you and your family. We therefore cannot disparage them by saying they are being used as guinea pigs. They are doing their patriotic and national duty, not only to elevate our country's security forces and their performance, Honorable Speaker, because the other notion that is being disabused, it is made to look from the submissions by the Leader of Minority that this is the first mission that the National Police Service is being deployed to. Honorable Speaker, if the Leader of Minority had bothered to read this report, and I must commend the chair of the Security Committee, the Honorable Tongoyo, his vice chair, and the members of the committee, because they were very diligent. Kenya has previously engaged in other missions, including that in Kosovo, Yugoslavia, Darfur in our region here, Namibia in Africa, Timor, Angola, Sierra Leone, and even Croatia. I don't know how many black Africans live in Croatia, but we did that as part of the community of nations. And the deployment, Honorable Speaker, the proposed deployment that we are being asked to approve is anchored on our responsibilities or the responsibility of Kenya as a UN member state and as part of that global community of nations. Honorable, historically, Kenya has been a leading participant in providing solutions to global security challenges. We indeed, as leaders, should feel honored as a country that our country has been called up by the UN Security Council and other nations of the world to serve in restoring security and restoring the dignity of other human beings, whether they are black people or not. And that's why I said Croatians are not black people. They are not Africans. But we have participated in missions to secure their country, to make it and restore the dignity of the people of Croatia and other areas, including other African countries, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the other issue that has been raised, Honorable Speaker, which I would want to respond to, is the National Police Service part of our national security organs, Honorable Speaker? And Honorable Speaker, if you read Article 239, because it is one thing, Honorable Speaker, for the Honorable Pio and I being a lawyer, and I'm not a lawyer, Honorable Speaker, and I have asserted I am not a lawyer, and I have no desire of.
Allow the majority leader another 3 minutes to finish.
Honorable Speaker, I was saying I have no desire of ever becoming a liar. Therefore, because lawyers, Honorable Speaker, are always intent on reading the law in the way it favors them, because that is what they do as liars. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, because I'm not a liar, Honorable Speaker, I read the Constitution as an accountant who is able to read good English, interpret the Constitution as it is. Article 239 is not read in... Point of order.
Honorable Kajwang, TJ Kajwang. CJ Kajwang.
Madam Speaker, of course the majority leader wants to have some very humorous opportunity in the House to make this debate lively. But Honorable Speaker, majority leader is calling us lawyers liars, and is calling you, who is on the seat of the Speaker, a great lady of this country, that all that you have done all your career is to be a liar, and is facing you eyeball to eyeball and calling you a liar in the National Assembly. Well, Otiende and I, we are small people in this society. But Madam Speaker, you of all the people, you are a liar. Madam Speaker, is he in order to call us lawyers who have struggled our horse years and practiced more than 30 years in this country, that we are just but liars?
Honorable Leader of Majority, I hope to God you are not calling me a liar, but what I heard was that you were saying liar or lawyers. Please confirm that you're not calling the lawyers in the House liars. Clarify.
You know, Honorable Speaker, I have tremendous respect for liars. And our pronunciation, Honorable Speaker, the other day I was having tea with my good friend, the Honorable TJ Kajwang. And the Honorable TJ Kajwang spoke to me about a sip. And I was wondering, what sip? And because we were sipping tea, Honorable Speaker, only to come to learn he was speaking about the ship that had deployed the oil in Mombasa. Therefore, our pronunciation, Honorable Speaker, based on where we come from, varies. And the Honorable TJ Kajwang should forgive me, because where I come from, LR, where you have W and Y, we have that difficulty. So I have the advocates of this country, let me use the word advocates. The advocates who serve, like the Honorable TJ Kajwang, are great people, and including yourself, Honorable Speaker, and you know I have tremendous respect for you and other advocates in this country. But I was speaking about, I have no intention ever of becoming one of them, because I'm an accountant. And I'm able to read, because going back to my point, I'm able to read the Constitution and interpret it, because the Constitution is not written in a lot of legalese, it's plain English. And Article 239, Honorable Speaker, of the national security, that defines our national security organs, says that the national security organs are the Kenya Defense Forces, National Intelligence Services, and the National Police Service. And indeed, Honorable Speaker, if you read on Article 239, Sub-Article 6, it says that Parliament shall enact legislation to provide for the functions, organization, and administration of the national security organs. And therefore, our National Police Service is part and parcel of our national security organs that the National Security Council can seek to be deployed to restore order or in case of emergency, as that has been sought in the country.
The Honorable Member for Kisumu West, Honorable Rosa Buyu.
Honorable Speaker, thank you for this opportunity. From the onset, I'd like to say that I'm a member of the committee that has presented this motion. Madam Speaker, unfortunately, in the final stages, when this report was being written, I had to dash to my constituency and therefore was not able to be present to append my signature as a dissenting voice to this report. Madam Speaker, I'm not an advocate and I'm not a lawyer, but I stand here to speak as a citizen of this country. Madam Speaker, I want to speak on behalf of millions of Kenyans who are not able to give their views this morning on this motion. Madam Speaker, I speak for thousands of residents in Lamu. I speak for thousands of residents in the North Rift. Madam Speaker, I stand to speak for residents who are in Northeastern. And I also stand to speak for all those residents in Sondu who in the recent past have experienced the skirmishes of the clashes that have cost many Kenyans their lives. Madam Speaker, the UN recommendation report clearly states that there should be one policeman at a ratio of 450 citizens. In Kenya today, Madam Speaker, we have one policeman to the ratio of 1,152 Kenyans. Madam Speaker, the result of this can clearly be seen in this country, where the impact of few police officers is felt in the violent occurrences in many parts of this country, where many Kenyans end up losing their lives. Madam Speaker, we've been told that security does not lie in the numbers of security officers. That might be true, but Madam Speaker, you can only train and make good quality of numbers that you have. Madam Speaker, we know that charity begins at home. Madam Speaker, where is the sense in taking 1,000 police officers to Haiti when Kenyans are dying in need of protection, in need of service from their police officers? Madam Speaker, the government or the head of the government took an oath to protect the lives of its citizens. Madam Speaker, you don't protect the lives of your citizens by taking police officers who are supposed to protect them away from them to a land called Haiti. You can only protect their lives by enhancing the numbers and enhancing the security amongst your citizens. Madam Speaker, we've also been told in this report, and we've heard from the leader of majority, that Kenya owes it to the international community, which we are part of. Madam Speaker, if you cannot contain and protect lives of your people, surely where do you have the guts to take away to protect lives of people in Haiti? Madam Speaker, we've been told that Haiti is a land of gangs where no president can sit pretty, because so far 4 presidents have been beheaded and murdered, and the gangs maraud the whole land of Haiti. Madam Speaker, I want to agree with our leader of minority that in taking these 1,000 officers to Haiti, we are actually doing nothing but sending them there as sacrificial lamb. Because in a country that's ruled by gangs, in a country where there's no law and order, in a country where there's no respect for human life, why, Madam Speaker, give me one reason why we take 1,000 of our officers into that land. Madam Speaker, I stand here to register my dissent and opposition
Let's hear the point
to
of
this
order.
project of taking our members to...
Mike, Honorable Speaker, I'm sorry to disrupt my sister.
Honorable Buyu to finish.
Honorable Speaker, I was rising on standing order 106 on irrelevance and repetition because I have listened to the Honorable Rosa Buyu continuously repeat herself on issues to do with Sondu. And when I looked at the motion before the House, Honorable Speaker, at least towards the end as she was completing, she was speaking about Haiti because the debate was on the deployment to Haiti. Honorable Speaker, more importantly, I have a copy of the report. And the Honorable Rosa Buyu, as she has asserted, is a member of this committee. And Honorable Speaker, I was going to advise Honorable Speaker, the kind of things Honorable Rosa Buyu was alluding to are things I have seen a very diligent member of that committee in the name of Honorable Kaluma, what he did. He has been able to express himself in a dissenting report. The Honorable Rosa Buyu, I'm told, never even attended the committee sittings to benefit from, and the minutes are there, Honorable Speaker. I'm not just speaking to things I do not know because minutes of the committee are in the report. The Honorable Rosa Buyu never attended a single meeting of the committee and now seeks to speak to the gallery with a lot of irrelevancies about Sondu and other areas. Honorable Speaker, I will just beg that we be relevant in line with the Standing Order 106 and restrict ourselves to the issue of Haiti, not Sondu, not Kikuyu, not Baringo, and other areas, Honorable Speaker.
I think, Honorable Rosa, I'll give you 2 minutes so that you can finish because you were interrupted.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, for the records, I was in the meeting, the joint meeting of the two committees, Committee of National Assembly and Committee of the Senate. And I deliberated, and even in that committee, I actually voiced my opposition. Madam Speaker, I've clearly stated that I wasn't able to come in the last committee when the report was being finalized because I owe it to my people to be in the constituency when the duty called, and I was there. Madam Speaker, the reason why I'm talking about Sondu, Baringo, Lamu, Northeastern, and the other places is because those places are experiencing violent that's actually leading to deaths of many people, Madam Speaker. It is the police who are charged with responsibility to protect Kenyans. These are the police we want to take away from Kenyans to take to Haiti. Madam Speaker, the leader of majority sometimes should learn to be relevant himself instead of standing up on useless point of orders. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Let me there.
Honorable TJ, your point of order.
Madam Speaker, I have been listening to the debate which is going in the House. Let us be sober. The onerous duty, Madam Speaker, that has been given to us as the National Assembly to approve forces deployment is a very important thing. And so let us take out emotions and let us look at facts, because this, in my recollection, is the very first time we are doing this. And at the end of the day, it will be our appendage to the force distribution or deployment as a mandate of the National Assembly. Madam Speaker, I'm just looking at the law so that we do not do something unconstitutional and so that we don't do something outside the law. Section 108 of the Police Service Act states that the President may, on the application of the government of a reciprocating country and so on. I have looked at the functions. Madam Speaker, I've looked at the functions of the police service, and I have looked through all the functions that are given to the Inspector General, except for 108, the only section in which the President may send police service is section 108. The rest of the sections, police service are a homeland. They protect inside the country. The only place in which police service can go outside the country is under 108. And under 108, it begins by saying the president can do that, but in a reciprocating country. Madam Speaker, I would want the chair to express itself to apply its mind to whether Haiti is a reciprocating country. Whether Haiti is a reciprocating country. Because if it is not a reciprocating country, over all the things we have said, police service is supposed to help us internally, not outside. And the authority given by the law is only the authority to reciprocating countries. And so, Madam Speaker, I think this is a very important issue that even as we are going on, I don't say that we stay the proceedings, but I'm asking that the speakership should apply its mind and come back with a reasoned communication from the chair, whether in the facts of this matter, Haiti is a reciprocating country for which we as National Assembly have the requisite jurisdiction to approve the forces to go to a foreign country. Thank you so much, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Member for Kamkunji, Honorable Yusuf.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I stand to support this resolution, and I do so as a former member of the United Nations and full respect for the UN Charter and our role as a member of the international community. In fact, Madam Speaker, the Haiti government had requested the United Nations Security Council to help the stabilization of that country, on whose security situation is in dire straits at the moment. The situation in Haiti is grim. Law and order has collapsed, and the people of Haiti and the government of Haiti need support. And as a result of that, the UN Security Council passed a resolution. This is a resolution which was passed on the 2nd of October 2023, which approved the deployment of UN troops and UN police to stabilize the situation in Haiti. And every UN resolution has, which deploys peacekeeping, has a police component. Under Chapter 6 and Chapter 7 of the UN Charter, the UN has the powers to deploy peacekeeping forces, peace enforcement forces, and that includes a police component, which in this particular case, the Republic of Kenya has been asked, and at the request of the Haitian government, and at the request of the United Nations. We are now obliged to deploy a police force to Haiti. We are not an island, Madam Speaker. We don't live in an isolated world. We are part of the international community. And Haiti is not an isolated country for us. Haitians are of African descent. And Kenya, as a member of the African Union, fully supports not only the 55 African countries that are members of the African Union and also members of the United Nations, but all the countries with people of African descent, which includes the entire Caribbean nations, Brazil, and many other countries. And with the history of Haiti as it is, we've had a major interaction with the people and the leadership of Haiti over the years. From 1945, if you remember, when the Pan-African Conference was held in Manchester in the UK, the fifth Pan-African Conference, Jomo Kenyatta, who became our president, attended that. We also had a Haitian delegation. We had a large number of Caribbean delegation, including CLR James, William Dubois. So we have always been part of the Pan-African movement of which at Haiti as an important country is an integral part. We are not, this is not the first time we are deploying internationally, Madam Speaker. There's a lot of commotion here. Can you,
Honorable Speaker,
we cannot engage in a proper debate.
we are having serious disruption from Korea here.
I can-
A very important member.
Your first time, I've been relaxed.
Madam Speaker.
Honorable Caroli, please do not address the member. You can only address the House through the chair.
Thank you.
Okay, proceed, Honorable.
Madam Speaker, for the information of this House, this is not the first time Kenya has deployed internationally in peacekeeping operations. We have deployed more than 15 times. I personally remember serving in a number of peacekeeping missions. We deployed in East Timor. East Timor at that time did not have a government. The government had collapsed, and the United Nations deployed peacekeeping forces and ran that country until it became independent. And we had a police force. We have also deployed, Madam Speaker, in Namibia, in Cambodia, in Yugoslavia, in Bosnia-Herzegovina, in East Timor, as I have said, in Sierra Leone, in Kosovo, in Angola. And at the moment, we have police officers serving in conflict areas in South Sudan, in Somalia, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Sudan, and Western Sahara. So our forces have been in place, and therefore what we are doing now is just deploying in support of a UN resolution to keep peace in Haiti. And we need to support the people of Haiti. We need to be part of the solution to the problem of Haiti. And
the Honorable Sarah Korere.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I also rise to support the motion. And indeed, Madam Speaker, this motion is properly before this House. Madam Speaker, it is true that Kenya is a member of the United Nations, and we have the responsibility to be our brother's keeper. And for avoidance of doubt, Madam Speaker, I want to refer this House to the report of the Committee on Security. Madam Speaker, Kenya has posted its police officers to other missions in the other years as late as 1989. And Madam Speaker, in 1989 to 1990, Kenya deployed its officers to Namibia, and we sent 30 officers to Namibia. In 1992 to 1993, Kenya sent its officers to Cambodia, 20 of them. In 1992 to 1995, police officers were sent to the former Yugoslavia, 50 officers were sent there. In 1995 to 1996, Kenyan officers were sent to Bosnia, and 20 officers were sent there. In 1999 to 2002, we sent 40 officers to East Timor. In 1998, we sent police and civilian support to Croatia, and 20 officers were sent. 1998 to 1999, officers were sent to Sierra Leone mission, and 5 officers were sent. Madam Speaker, in 1999 to 2005, officers again were sent to Sierra Leone, and 51 officers were sent. In 1999 to 2008, officers were sent to Kosovo, and 98 officers were sent to Kosovo. In the year 2005 and 2006, the African Union sent Kenyan officers, 50 of them to Darfur. And Madam Speaker, to date, we have officers in South Sudan, we have officers in Somalia, we have officers in the DRC, we have officers in ABA, we have officers in Western Sahara, we have police officers in New York, we have police officers in Italy and Addis Ababa. And Madam Speaker, when this thing came before our committee, we raised several questions. One among them was, Haiti is a French-speaking country.